Jumping into it, Daily 3, Ron, the Frozen Four is today. The Gophers play the Minnesota State Mankato Mavericks, the semifinals of college hockey. So, Ron, you're not a huge hockey fan, but you are a Gopher. So, are you locked in to the Gophers Mavericks tonight, especially because it's an in state rivalry?
um, when you host a TV show or radio show or whatever, you kind of have to have your finger on the pulse a little bit. So I have been tuned into like the brackets because I looked at other people's brackets and everybody was so up in arms about their hockey bracket and how could you put, why isn't St. Cloud up in your bracket and how come, why do you think the Bulldogs aren't better than the Gophers? Blah blah. Well, now it's down to the Gophers and Mankato State. Technically, as everybody would say, two hockey blue buds. You look at Minnesota. I mean, they have a seventh and eighth grader committed to skate at the University of Minnesota. So it's aggressive here when it comes to hockey. So yes, in true Mighty Ducks fashion, I always like to watch the playoffs and exciting games. I love to see, Twitter erupt when there's a bad call by a ref or something, doesn't happen the way they want it to. But I'm going to go for the Gophers, of course. And I'm hoping they win so that I can tweet to Adam Thielen, ha, 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 in your face. But, that's kind of where I'm at with it. I am definitely supporting the Gophers. I think from a program standpoint, it's big. We know PJ Fleck's going to come out with some roll the boat, congratulations or get ready for tonight for the Gophers because he supports all the sports, which I think is huge, where his players are involved in it. You see other sports getting involved in it. You see Viking or Gophers football, basketball, and baseball Twitter, on the side of Gophers hockey Twitter. So just the atmosphere and the energy around it. Yes, I am going to watch it. I'm not going to be like glued to my TV. I do have kids and I have things to do, but I am going to watch it. It's going to be on in the living room, probably most likely, because that's kind of the one spot I constantly walk through. But other than that, it's playoffs. It's Final Four now that basketball is done. It's time for hockey, and of course, anytime I can cheer for the Gophers, I'm going to do it. And this is one.
So, of course, the Mavericks last year were the team that eliminated the Gophers. And if I recall, it wasn't close. So
Yep.
my side job, Ron, I announced St. Thomas hockey. St. Thomas played
Okay.
Mankato 6 times this year. So I saw the Mavericks in person 6 times. I think the Gophers are in for an absolute dogfight. I don't know if there's a better team than this Minnesota State team. Hate to admit it to Adam Thielen, but I think his club is pretty good. I think it would be an upset, honestly. Like, I know the Gophers have ended the season really strongly. They got to this point. I think the Mavericks are just cream of the crop, to be honest with you. So I would
Yeah, it's like
consider it
Iceland.
a mild upset.
It's like
Yeah.
Iceland versus the U.S. I mean, everybody thought that Iceland was going to beat the Mighty Ducks, and then what happens? Ducks fly together. Gophers, I don't know what they do together, but they're going to do it together tonight. Like that's the thing. It's all every sport is about momentum and swagger and energy. Once the Gophers, like if it's close, I say, like you said, they're going to be in for a dogfight. But if it's close or the Gophers have a lead after the first period, I think that becomes a mental hurdle that they're like, oh, okay, like we can win this. And then for Mankato State is do you play tight? Are you pushing it now? Are you taking shots on goal that are unnecessary because you're forcing the issue? And everybody always says the team with the most shots on goal ends up winning or has the better chance of winning. But are you taking bad shots? And I think that's going to be the key for this game tonight.
All right, breaking news just before this show recording began. The Minnesota Twins have made a
Mm-hmm.
trade for a starting pitcher, Chris Paddock from the Padres, 25-year-old right-hander. He's got a career record of 20 and 19, ERA of 4.21. Young, solid right-handed pitcher. Twins give up a reliever and Brent Rooker, their outfield prospect, in exchange. Ron, is it too little too late for the Twins to solve this pitching staff and bolster their pitching ranks? Because I know that's been a weak spot for them this offseason.
Yeah, I know last year I saw some weird, like random, infielders pitching one inning just to get through an inning. So the problem is you can't do that again. Now, is it too little too late? No. I mean, you have 162 games. The one thing about baseball, just like basketball, like, you look at the Brooklyn Nets and the 76ers and these late trades that happen and, people, same thing. Is it too little too late for the Nets or is it too little for late? No. Sports, that's the one great equalizer about sports. Again, I go back to swagger. It's about who can come out and feel like they have a chance. And if you give this team a chance, I'm constantly seeing Buxton and Correa pitchers together now, and they asked Carlos Correa, whose team is this? Is this your team? And he's like, no, this is still Buxton's team. I'm just here to help them win. And I think when you add another pitcher to the bullpen, and again, who knows if he's actually going to even go out there and do what he's supposed to do. But if he shows any semblance or resemblance of a good pitcher and can get some quality games in with the hitting they're going to have, or at least hopefully they're going to have, they stay healthy. Like I said, I'm going back to that 90 to 95 wins. This is a team that can pull it off. But again, it's about swagger and then comfortability. If you make your pitcher comfortable, meaning he always feels like if I can keep this to a low one-score game, or not no runs. No runs is great, but a 1 to 2 run game, and you feel like you have enough hitting that you feel like we're going to win these games 6-2, 6-3, and I don't have to worry about throwing no hitters. That's another thing. Like any pitcher that can walk up on the mound and feel like I got this, because I know, like I think that's what Yankees pitchers have always had. Yes, they're great. We know that, not doubting that, but they've always had great hitting. They've always been able to put up points in bunches, and when you have a guy like Aaron Judge coming up, as a pitcher, I feel a little bit more confident that if I can just hold these guys to 0 to 1 runs in this inning, I know Aaron Judge, he's coming up in, whatever, the first inning, he's going to come up again, maybe in the third or fourth inning. He's going to help put points on this board. And I think that's now where the Twins are. They have confidence in their batting, so that should give their pitchers a little bit more confidence. So no, it's not too little too late, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think the acquisition definitely raises the floor of the pitching staff, gives them important depth. I just worry that they don't have an ace. I mean, a couple of years ago, I could trust Jose Barrios to go out there and just stop a team. Kenta Maeda, he's out this year with Tommy John. So I worry that they don't have that high ender. All right, You alluded to this guy in the first segment. The Bills extended Stefon Diggs. 4 years, $96 million through the year 2027. There's talk of him retiring a Bill. So things have clearly worked out pretty well for Stefon Diggs in Buffalo. Things have also worked out pretty well for the Vikings with that first-round pick they got, Justin Jefferson in Minnesota. So, Ron, I'll ask you the million-dollar question. At this point, who won the trade?
I think they both won. Like, we keep going back to, like, somebody has to win. And it's like I, always say, like Romeo and Juliet, like one family doesn't always just have to win. You look at Republicans and Democrats, there doesn't need to be a clear winner all the time. Both sides can win. And I think in the Vikings Bills, you get Justin Jefferson and you got Stefon Diggs. The Vikings early on seem to be the winner because of money. You have a guy that's doing great. He's one of the best receivers in the NFL, top 3 for sure. And you're not paying him a ton, but then you're going to have to pay him eventually. Whereas the Bills, the Vikings had Stefon Diggs and they were winning games. The Bills get Stefon Diggs and they start winning games. The Vikings start losing games. I say they weren't always losing before when Stefon was here, but that's the difference is like I don't know if it's just Stefon Diggs or just the mentality or what, but the Bills are finding ways to win games. It could be Josh Allen versus Kirk Cousins. I don't know what it is, but I would say they both won. You said there's rumors. There is no rumor. Stefon Diggs tweeted himself. He wants to retire a Bill. He's so excited. But the funny thing is the tweets up until this point, he was tweeting business is business. Take care of yourself. I saw KJ Osborne tweet something about like at the end of the day, remember it's all about business. Stefon Diggs retweeted it or quote tweeted it and said, yeah, never forget that. So you knew something was going on within the Bills organization because as a Vikings insider, we saw these tweets before when the Vikings and Stefon Diggs were talking contract. And then when the Vikings and Stefon Diggs were talking trades, that's where Stefon Diggs goes. He loves to tweet his emotions. That's what happens when you're young. It's nothing wrong with it. Showing emotion, being emotional in situations and talking yourself through it. That's his therapy. Twitter's his therapy. He gets it out there. Sometimes he's just talking about burritos and washing feet and all that stuff. And then sometimes he's serious. So that's the one thing about his Twitter is you can't take every tweet as football related because the guy tweets about everything. In that aspect, Justin Jefferson never tweets. So in the Twitter, angst, I guess I'll call it, The Vikings won because Justin Jefferson is not tweeting and confusing Vikings fans. So we won the Twitter receiver war. But as far as receiver to receiver, pick to pick, I think it's a tie. Money, I think the Vikings won that as well. So 2-1, if I have to pick, I'd say go to the Vikings for Twitter and money. Other than that, production, you got about the same guy in Stefon Diggs and Justin Jefferson. And now with Kevin O'Connell, who's going to treat Justin Jefferson like Cooper Kupp, we'll see. It could get scarier and scarier as it goes on.
Yeah, there's almost nothing wrong with Justin Jefferson right now. He's kind of the perfect player. He's cheap. He says all the right things, does all the right things. He's unbelievable. Last one, bonus question. Tiger Woods, I think, is teeing off as we speak. So as the Masters begins, Ron, give me a quick champion. Who is going to win the golf tournament?
Well, I mean, I'm going to pick one of the favorites. So I got to go with Justin Thomas or Brooks Koepka. I like Brooks Koepka for the simple fact of how he and DeChambeau don't like each other. Like, that to me is TV. Like, I would love more interaction with those two. If somehow at some tournament one day they put those two together again, because I don't know if it's because he swings too hard or every swing too hard. There's a conversation about his swing too hard, but Koepka does not like DeChambeau. But I will say I'm going to go Justin Thomas or Brooks Koepka, just because they've been kind of at the top. They're the odds-on favorites. A lot of people are putting their money on them. I think it's 12-1 odds right now on Justin Thomas. So it's worth it to do it. I, of course, would love to see Tiger and Sunday in a red shirt. Like, I want to see Tiger out there coming down to the wire, having a chance to at least be in contention, top 4, where he's, 2 shots back or something, so that every single hole matters and people are staring at Tiger Woods, and then he pulls off like a ridiculous eagle shot from 280 yards out. He sticks it inches from the cup, and then he's putting for eagle. Like, that's what I want on Sunday. So those are my 2. That's what I'm going to go with.
All right, I'm going to take a sleeper, Will Zalatoris. He was second last year.
Okay.
I think he gets the job done this year. I'm going to have to go figure out how to download ESPN Plus so I can watch Tiger for the rest of the day.